Hello beautiful humans. In this video I'm going to be sharing with you how to dissolve negative emotions so that you can feel positive and more happy most of the time. Once you learn this process, which I have been doing for a while now and practicing for a while now, you'll start to perceive reality differently, and you'll also start to strengthen your self-love and the trust that you have with yourself. So stay to the end, because at the end I'm going to be giving you some like bonus tips to kind of make this process more like second nature for you. As usual, thank you so much guys for all the comments, and thank you for subscribing to my channel. And step number one is to notice when you're feeling like the negative emotion. Notice when you're feeling a form of resistance, as a lot of people in the spiritual community will call it. And this might be a bit of anxiety, it might be feelings of sadness, it might be overwhelm. There's so many different things it could be, but start to notice when you have those feelings, and when you do, send your attention to them. This is something you can do with your eyes open, with your eyes closed. I literally was having this just before I started filming this video. I actually was filming this video. I've already tried to film it once, and I was having resistance, and I was feeling a little bit stressed, and things weren't going right. So I was just like, right, let me just stop. And also I ran out of storage, so I was like, this is a sign. I need to like stop, regroup, and start again. And so I went on a dog walk, and I went into nature, and I just could feel this anxiety feeling in my belly, and I just felt it, and I just walked around, and I tried my best to listen to the sounds of nature and really be present and really listen to what the kind of anxiety was trying to tell me. And I've noticed that when I really do feel my emotions, they tend to dissolve a lot quicker, and if we don't feel them, they tend to get stuck in the body, and then it's almost like you're trying to force yourself to do things with this feeling of resistance. And these days I tend to make sure that I clear that before I get into doing what I want to do, because I want to get into a flow state, and that flow state is only really possible for me when I have cleared any resistance and I just feel like I'm enjoying. You can make the decision on what you're going to do next once you have heard all of these inner voices that are speaking to you. It might be that you've got two voices that are completely in opposition to each other, which is sometimes the case when we feel stuck, or we feel like we're procrastinating. Sometimes it's because we have two voices that are in opposition. So you want to listen to both of those voices and make sure that you're coming to a decision of what you're going to do next from a place of listening to all parts of yourself and finding creative ways that you can take your next step that is in alignment with all parts. And I'll give you an example. The other day I felt like I'd woken up with stress, and even though I had promised myself I was going to get up and start working on my YouTube video straight away, I felt this like really resistant stress that I was having. And by the way, it's really normal and kind of a habit for us humans to just avoid that resistance. And what's funny about that is you're actually resisting resistance. And when you resist resistance, it just like snowballs, and you just keep getting more and more out of alignment. So if you notice resistance, to not resist it and go straight into it. Resisting resistance can look like literally any form of avoidance. Maybe that is procrastination, looking at social media, taking drugs, watching TV. Did I already say that one? Even like going out in nature and not listening to yourself, or you could do a meditation and just be completely separate, like still avoiding what it is that your inner like guidance is telling you to do. So literally anything can be a form of avoidance, but obviously there are ones that people tend to go with more, but it's really depends on the person, to be honest, what they're used to doing. So if you can notice that you're resisting your resistance, then that is amazing. The first part of like healing any of this is always becoming aware of what you're doing. So become aware of why you're procrastinating, and is that because you feel stressed? Or become aware of why you went to smoke a joint or whatever it is that you usually do to avoid. Then think, like, listen to what it is that is going through your mind. Listen to like how you're feeling just before you go to do that resistance, or if you that avoidance mechanism. And if you catch yourself in an avoidance mechanism, like going on Instagram, or this is one for me, I'll sometimes go on Instagram and I'm just distracting myself from actually getting work done, and usually it's because there's some sort of stress inside of me. And back to my example, that day that I realized I had stress, I went straight out to my garden and I was like, right, let me just meditate and feel this. And so I did, and I went inwards. And what I noticed was that I was having lots of stressful thoughts about finances. And the reason why was because I didn't have an awareness of how much I was going to be making that month and how much was going out. And so this was stressing me out, and I was finding it really difficult to get started on my projects with this stress inside me, because it's almost like because my mind was worrying about money, that was going into my intention of what I was creating. And then that makes even more stress, because it's like, oh my God, this has to make money. Whatever I'm doing has to like make money. And then that energy behind whatever you're creating is just like, I feel like it really affects the quality of whatever it is that what I'm creating. So for me to feel like, I'm creating this with the intention of creating value, it's not about making money or like having to make money, or like this feeling of lack where you're almost like, I have to do well on this. So you become really rigid and like not in flow, and then it can just affect the whole energy of what it is that you're creating. So where I realized that I was stressed about this, I asked myself, okay, what could I do to feel some relief about this? And so the next thing I did was, I said to myself, before I do any work, let me go upstairs, write down exactly what I've got coming in this month and whatever I've got coming out that month. And as soon as I did that, as soon as I sorted out everything, I felt so much better. I felt so much relief, and I felt like I can go on with my projects with like a clear headspace and a knowing that I'm going to be fine. So there's no pressure on this project for it to do amazingly, because sometimes if we put so much pressure on ourselves to do amazing, and then it kind of does the opposite, it's like you're too much in your head, and then you can't actually just like be in flow, like I was saying. So I was able to then, after that, be in a flow state and really enjoy the work that I was doing without all of that pressure. So for the bonus points that I was saying about how to dissolve the negative emotions like magic, is practice going inwards every day, for one. If you haven't already got a meditation practice or a practice of being still and having a stillness practice, I would advise to do like 2 minutes a day. And this is how I started out. I originally, when I first started out doing meditation, I realized how much it was benefiting me, and I really wanted to get consistent with it. And I was struggling to get consistent. So one of the ways that I did that was by doing like 1 or 2 minutes a day for like 2 weeks. And after I did that, it got really easy, and I was really enjoying it, and I just wanted to do more and more. And another thing is, practice this every day. So what I mean by this is practice feeling your body every day. If you find it hard to feel your emotions, like some people can be really numb to how they feel, then practice feeling your hands. Maybe you could do your lips, because your hands and your lips have the most nerves, I believe, in them, so they tend to have be the easiest to feel without attention. So maybe just practice going inwards and scanning your hands and feeling how they feel for a couple weeks, if you find it hard to actually feel how you're feeling inside. And then after a couple weeks, you can start to move to maybe seeing if you can feel any emotion. And if you do start to notice yourself feeling emotion, then definitely go straight into that and go deeper into it and feel what it is that you can feel, maybe putting a name on it. Instead of trying to make these feelings go away, you're going to stay with them and give your attention to them. Another bonus I would say is spend time in nature. The reason I say this is because when we spend time in nature, it slows us down, because the pace that like nature is going at is just such a slower pace. Humans at the moment are so used to being like go, 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 like we're going at all this fast pace, everything's so fast, it's all so crazy, and like do this, do that, gotta get this done, get that. Like, just go out into nature, slow yourself down, try to attune yourself with nature. This is a natural thing that happens anyway. It basically calms our nervous systems down, and especially if you are doing like a mindfulness practice in wherever it is that you are, just really listening to all the things that you can hear, listening to the birds, listening to the wind and the leaves in the wind, and then just listen to anything. Just really try to listen to what's going on around you and be still in your mind. Let your mind just focus, let your attention focus completely on your senses. What can you feel? What can you smell? What can you hear? And this is going to really help you as well with this process of feeling your emotions, because you're basically training yourself to bring your attention to something. And when we can train ourselves to bring our attention to something, it becomes more like second nature to us. But that is it for today's video, guys. I hope that resonated with you guys. If it did resonate, let me know in the comments. If it didn't, let me know in the comments. Let me know what your thoughts are. I'm always curious to know. As usual, thank you so much for your comments. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel, and I will see you in the next video.